Many of you obviously don't understand what it's like to take native people, force them into a different religion, force education and advertising on them through all media that tells them that there is a glorious life in comparison to their own, and then tell them that if they are good, God will come back and scoop them up. And then among those people, think about the little ones that keep falling between the cracks, always overlooked decade after decade. And to watch it happening and hear the demonic chatter all about it on the news, and listen to the demons laugh about the pain and torture. And then the idiots want to cover their crimes and send assassins to kill the voices of innocent people. Welcome to the 11th day of Christmas in the Swamp by Cavetronics Dimensional Art. My name is Melissa. The date and location of this recording is December 23rd, 2023 from Salem, Missouri, USA. There's a lot to discuss and none of it has to do with A Christmas Carol, except that it makes great artwork for your enjoyment. And I am still working on a separate compilation for children in the future. The focus on these two last days in this series will be my account of what I believe to be happening based on the crosstalk chatter, my total life's experiences, and so on that I have previously described throughout this past year. This has been a confusing couple of years. I have spent every day trying to piece together facts of what appears to be a new construct, a paradigm of colliding realities. To continue my discussions on Hegelian dialectics that is in the Agnosis series, for the record of research I have accomplished through writing as a journalist and a technical writer, this is how I tackled the demon conglomerate as a whole, in order to get to the bottom of things to understand my reality construct. At the same time, I will be doing so by describing how I perform Reiki massage, or Reiki, however you want to pronounce it. Listen closely to these instructions. It is not meant to be sexual, more like think about it. Just think about what I'm saying. With familiarity of the human body and its aches and pains, I often know the point of problem, but I don't massage that spot first. Rather, I work around it, or else I may just drive the pain deeper, and there could not be relief from it. Often the tissue around the pain is hardened, so the area all around the problem must be massaged to loosen the bound tissue. In a similar way, when I speak to the masses using Hegelian dialectics, I often avoid naming specific people or events because that would be attacking head on. And the demons have countermeasures for such. So it doesn't tend to work out that way. But I like pushing, so you don't want to push on the painful spot. Like trying to pop a boil. You simply replace one pressure for another that way, rather than alleviate the pressure around it and then alleviate the problem once it comes out. Therefore, as I mentioned in Agnosis Part 18, the art of the possible, I cast a wide net with my words, encircling the whole area, the entire bot swarm at once in this case. The work is a process, and often it requires many applications to get to the root of the problem, which is why I have to keep putting these videos out there, hearing the feedback, and continuing as we move through this. But as the process continues, I can work my way through the bundled nerves, going back to the Reiki, in order to find the needle in the haystack or the pea under a sea of mattresses that has been afflicting the princess. Not sure if you are familiar with that fairy tale or not, but I've always thought it was written about me. In my case, I'm trying to unbury myself with this technique of Hegelian dialectics. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope that I can help many others to ascend with this knowledge. Since the 11th day of Christmas features 11 pipers piping, I thought it was cute that the 8 maids appear to be milking a strange bong. Anyway, it was through this method of Hegelian dialectics that I pieced together the collision of paradigms from multiple realms. And it seems some of you are not aware of the history of this planet, of which is described in the book The Necromonicon. The Torah was written with an encrypted language structure by aliens or angels, you may call them, and the Torah starts with the letter B, not A or Aleph, because as the Kabbalists teach, this represents the fact that this world is not the first one. Both my husband and I come from a time before the Torah and before 6,000 years ago, even though our lineage also has Adam in it. We have our family tree, both of us, traced all the way back to Adam and Eve. We were established by the Elohim, who also created man in their likeness, their image, consisting of one head with 2 eyes, 1 nose, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 2 arms, 2 legs on the torso, and so on. When we ripen spiritually, the Elohim force us to the top, like a promotion or graduation or popcorn. I hear a lot of people talking crap about the Elohim and mixing up God with Satan. I believe, as the Kabbalists do, that Satan is the evil inclination, which can be abated in non-violent, non-destructive methods, such as dance, roller skating, martial arts, sports, and even mental competitions, like gaming and other arts and hobbies. For the record, I have not signed any contract with the devil or sold my soul to the devil. It wasn't the Elohim that sucked my blood or stole my energy. Rather, they provided a way for me to learn what it takes to overcome the violence of men that has been perpetrated against me. Plus, they helped me fulfill my life's purpose and meet my lofty goals to attain spiritual enlightenment, discernment, and wisdom. On this note, I would like to add that our focus should be on good things and on the good nature that comes from God. And currently, there is a debate over whether or not a satanic statue belongs on government grounds. Personally, I think it's tacky. And from a logical perspective, if it gets started, will it lead to a sea of shrines to thousands of deities, insomuch that we cannot get through the sidewalks and hallways? I truly believe this is an example of the petty arguments demons put up, almost like botcom cover stories for the most part, because really it is a ridiculous thing otherwise. And another thing, I am incensed against those that tear down women's work with the mention of one bad man such as in the case of Madame Blavatsky, of whom I am not her, but about 100 books worth of wisdom that she wrote. Just the mention of Aleister Crowley's support for it removes all of her goodness and memory. Shame on you fools for thinking that if you did. And on that note, I'm glad to see Matt Gaetz paired with a female to discuss the Second Amendment in the Bill of Rights of the U.S. Constitution, which I firmly affirm and support, and always will as a believer in a strong defense of ourselves as individuals, our land, our labor, our thoughts, and our personal desires of the heart, if they be of a good report. It is said that dead men tell no lies. Welcome to guild meeting. Looks like we're late. You can tell by the look if you know what I mean. He's the guard around here and very important in the council. But if you ask him his name, he'll tell you he's nobody. And don't ask about the ones on the bottom. Those are nobody's slaves. The owl is the protector of the heart. Owls are great. The Torah considers them as an unclean animal or non-kosher, and therefore off the menu. The owls rule over the nocturnal realm of the night and of dreams. This realm is constructed much like Egypt with various orders. When we are ready to rise, you can read the pattern in the account of Joseph in the Torah, whose brothers were jealous of his coat of many colors, which they stripped from him and then sold him into Egypt. He was a slave and a prisoner there, but when the time was right for him to ascend, he was brought before the Pharaoh to describe the dreams, much like I have described to you, using the Hegelian dialectic process like an echo chamber of the collective facts we network for the answers to find ourselves in the fog of war. As with many of these artful custom slides, I use moving graphics to highlight some mathematical properties to show energetic flow, and this slide's Christmas tree art has a slight complicated curvature. I was born into this world in a human body, and I have not been given instructions from other humans per se, um, for the things I have been bringing forth and will in time. Rather, I'm guided by the Spirit of God. Plus, I listen to many of you and your perspectives as a tool of measurement. However, I have not signed any contracts for work deals or obligations to anyone or any company that I know of. My involvement with WhoHub is as the co-creator of it, no matter what the demons on the other side or this one have to say about it. Which is probably what leads us all here today in this cesspool of conflict, trying to fight over who the real creator is. Many of you now find yourselves in court after tripping over your own mountains of greed, lust, and sinful natures to still kill and destroy everything and everyone. I did not create the game, but I put a thought out there, and the rest was picked up by the demons and made into this crap we see today. So while you guys are trying to figure out who to blame, you may want to figure out first how it was even possible. And you may find yourselves having to blame God for it or yourselves. We'll see. In the same way you have tied yourselves in a knot from your own creation, you demons will still ask for someone else to call a ceasefire, as if you weren't responsible all along. I have never killed anything but some bugs and perhaps a snake or two on the road while driving. In fact, I have often fainted at the smell of blood, and the idea of tattoos is out of the question. Not for some biblical reason, but for my own cognitive reasoning. Plus, I have a huge fear of needles and the pain they bring. I cry, and my veins just shrink right up, and I don't want to behave when needles are around to take my blood or something like that. So I am not and never have been a blood drinker, nor have I participated in hurting children. Also, as a matter of record, for the Spirit of God has never prompted me to do any of those things either. However, I will admit that I have been heavily tested in a myriad of ways over the years, most often when I didn't even realize it until later. Those tests can come at any time, anywhere, with anyone, and they get harder and harder along the way. You are expected to remember what you learn and apply it. Join me next time for the last of day in this series for the 12th of 12 Days of Christmas in the Swamp by Cavetronics Dimensional Art. Merry Christmas, have a nice day, and bye for now.